Hello and welcome back to this podcast, lesson 2 about learning English through sentence structures. So, how can you draw much benefits or the most benefits from this course? You you are ready now to start. Now, I'm going to give you some advice, some pieces of advice or recommendations for trying to draw the most benefits from this course. These pieces of advice apply even if you are already familiar with the structure. You may be familiar with it, but still use less accurate and or longer structures, or even not know how to use it correctly. For example, put it in the wrong part of the sentence. If you already use the sentence structure or use a similar one in your speech correctly, try completing steps 1 and 2 below. I'm going to talk after for good measure. Now, step 1. Read all 3 examples. This should help you better understand the sentence structure's meaning and or usage, or learn something new about it, provided that you already use it in your speech, e.g., for example, a new position within a sentence or a new phrase that you can use before or after it. If the meaning or use of the structure is unclear, after looking at the notes or after listening to the notes and examples, I urge you to look for more examples of the use of the sentence structure that generally solves the issue. To do this, you can use corpora, links, or corpora from websites, or type the sentence structure in the searching machine Google in inverted commas to see the structure in use in website descriptions. Here's an example of I'd hate to. You know something, Jacob? I'd hate to be a smart. Sometimes it might be useful to skip the first few results if the structure matches the title of a song, film, etc., as you may not find many useful examples in the site descriptions. Depending on the structure, you may also be able to find videos on social media or articles on the internet that explain it in more detail. Some structures may even be discussed in English dictionaries. If so, they usually appear as the first results in a Google search. You may not need to write them in inverted commas for this. In any case, in most cases, you'll most likely not need to do any further investigation once you have read or you've listened to the 3 examples carefully. Step 2. Choose one of the three examples and ask yourself the following question. Would I also have used this structure if I were making this sentence? If you would have used the sentence structure in question or similar one, you can move to the next sentence structure and skip step 3. However, if the answer is negative, ask yourself, how would I have said it in my own words? In my experience, this exercise should help you see whether you'd convey the message in a longer, more complex, and or less precise way. You should also be able to see shortcomings in your speech, e.g., bad habits, grammatical errors that you were not previously aware of. Step 3. Write down a few lines, around 150 characters, using the structure and have them corrected by a native or a proficient English speaker, e.g., a non-native English teacher. If you don't have access to anyone who can correct you, use of the structures, you can turn to online communities where people correct each other, or to paid services that will correct your sentences in a matter of minutes. Okay, you might find several links or website links to several of these kind of services in the social media and in Google. It's recommended that you do not skip this step if you want to learn how to use the sentence structures correctly. Otherwise, not only might you misuse them, but you might also form bad habits that could be difficult to break later on. From personal experience, it is true that repeated exposure to sentence structures through the consumption of native content, for example, TV programs, video games, books, etc., or by conversing with native or proficient speakers, can sometimes suffice when learning about their usage. Nevertheless, I still recommend that you write some sentences using the sentence structure and have them checked, time permitting, or at least say your example out loud to someone who can correct them. If you don't want to write them down, I believe this is a more reliable and faster way to learn their use rather than simply relying on your subconscious, which for one is subject to cognitive biases or illusions such as the Baader-Meinhof effects, capital BAADER dash Meinhof, capital MEINHOF, Meinhof effect. I talk more about this effect at the end of the course. Personally, for what it's worth, when it comes to learning the uses of sentence structures, I can easily distinguish between the students who completed this step and those who didn't. Regarding what to write or say, write things that are meaningful to you. Using the structures, neuroscience research has shown that The brain seems to remember better when the information we learn is relevant to our lives. Seems obvious, doesn't it? Oh, yes, you would say yes, 100%. In this respect, I generally recommend that the people who are going to follow this course write their sentences part of number one, a daily journal. Write about key events in your day. Um, point two, a gratitude journal. Write about things, typically three, that are grateful for each day. Three, a goals journal. Write about your progress towards your life goals. Point four, any journal of your choice. In this way, you can kill two birds with one stone. For example, practice the use of sentence structures and work on your personal growth. If journaling isn't your thing, you can simply write sentences for a future email, cover letter, university application, etc. Or, if you prefer, you can write the sentences as part of a story. Okay, you can find writing prompts anywhere you head for or you head towards on the internet. The point is, write whatever is relevant or meaningful to you. The most important thing is to use the sentence structure and receive feedback on its use. When feedback means a reaction, be it negative or positive, so, or neutral, whatever, a reaction that will give you a sign about how your work or your steps are progressing. When you have completed these three steps, you should have learned the sentence structure or in other words, you are aware that it exists and you know how to use it correctly. You can now start to reinforce it in your memory by using it in your speaking and writing and or by repeatedly exposing yourself to it when consuming native content or having conversation with native or competent speakers. This should help the structure stay in your speech or become part of it. It isn't if it isn't already, it can become part of it if you it isn't already so. I'll talk more about this at the end of the course. With that said, completing all three steps may only allow you to work with the structures with a few structures per week, if not one. I understand that this may be too slow of a learning process for you. If that is the case, a relatively fast route could be to complete steps 1 and 2 first for all the sentence structures and attempt step 3 after reaching the 100th structure. I actually, because in this course you may find 100 sentence structure. I actually like this opinion better because it would allow you to review the structures one more time, which would help you learn them better as science has shown. And if you really don't have time for step 3, well, completing step 1 only should be better than completing none at all. And completing step 1 and 2 should be better than completing step 1 alone. So you do you, as they say. Something is better than nothing. Let's meet again at the end of the course after you have learned the sentence structure. Enjoy every step of the course. Okay, we have reached the end of this lesson. This lesson 2. I hope to be with you again in the future, in the nearest of the futures, to continue this course. Thank you for following.